Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of Five for Talking. I'm here with Caps, the captain of the show. We're entering into the Christmas time of the year, holiday season, and we'll drop you this episode for this week. For the following week around New Year's, I think we'll just prepare a tier list unless we find some time to get a video in, but this will be it for the next 2 weeks. I know we've kind of been doing it bi-weekly lately, but we're going to try to do it as often as we can. There's obviously a lot going on.
Mhm.
So how are you?
Doing okay, man. How's it going with you?
I'm just living the dream as usual. Dream,
Yeah.
dream
Well, I just
liver.
came back from Montreal.
Oh,
Saw a game there, Montreal versus Buffalo. Um, I must say the Bell Center's got a heck of an environment. Awesome. Um, and they pummeled them, Buffalo Sabres. So it was a good game, but I guess we can just lead into the Buffalo Sabres.
Buffalo Sabres suck.
Yeah, they're bad. They are struggling. When we talked about that team earlier on the season, we were anticipating them actually making a run for the playoffs. And unfortunately, since that conversation, they've dropped to pretty much last place in the NHL. It's bad.
Yeah, I I think they're tied for last. Yeah. Either way, this is being filmed on the Saturday, December 22nd, year of our Lord 2024. Uh so Liney got a hat trick that game.
Lonnie did get a hat trick. I don't know the stats yet, but I think he's got about
9-9.
is it 9-9?
Nine and
Dude,
nine.
guy's killing it. He's
Eight
killing
goals
it
in nine
since
games and 9 points. Hmm.
it's uh it's it's he does add some um production for that team, like really, like they really need it, like they it has to come from somewhere.
This is the
um
right fit though for the type of player that he is. Like he's a bit of a vet now. He has like an idea of what to do, and then he's surrounded by all these fast young guys. And like they probably a lot of them probably grew up watching him be like one of the best juniors in the world. You know what I mean? So for that a few of them, it's probably a thrill to play with him. And we know he can score goals. That's never been his problem. It's
Never been
just
a problem for him.
consistency with him is the problem.
Yeah, and obviously other things, but I do recall, like, when they initially picked him up, there was a bit of a mixed reaction. And
Well, Montreal embraced him pretty well right off the bat. It seemed to be the rest of the league that had a mixed reaction to him going to Montreal, like the rest of the fans.
well, as of right now, he's shutting up his uh, you know, could his naysayers, I guess.
Yeah, big time. So you mentioned Buffalo being like the worst team in the league. I want to actually just talk about something. I don't know if you have anything to say, but I've been like having discussions recently, and I think that Chicago is the worst team. I think Chicago is absolutely terrible. It could come from the fact that their goaltending is really bad and they don't have that much depth on the defensive end. Um, Connor Bedard is really good, but as far as I've seen, I think Macklin Celebrini, who was drafted this year by San Jose, is better than Connor Bedard. Like San Jose is actually pretty decent for how bad of a team they have. Like they're not to say they're not like a bottom feeder in points, but when you watch a game of San Jose, and San Jose's upsetting a lot of really high end teams when they do get wins, where Chicago's just kind of beating teams along their own wavelength. Um,
I mean, when you're looking at the Blackhawks, I mean, Peter Mrazek is not the guy. That I
no,
don't think he's not the guy to take this team to the next level. And for me, um, I haven't seen Bedard in the last few games, but before that, it really feels as though that Bedard um, has not taken a step forward in his development.
no, he's stayed about exactly the same.
Yeah. So I don't know if
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean,
I
it's
mean,
got to be the building around it, right? Like if you look at the makeup of what they tried to put around Celebrini, you got Toffoli and you got guys like Wenberg and Granlund, Eklund, like people that are two ways and are going to protect him and can play with him. I think they made smarter moves. I think they've drafted a little bit not as high tier, but more what do they actually need? And then they have Gorgiev. I know that's not a what everyone wants to say, but he could turn it around. They have Vanacek, who's a solid goalie, and then you have Askarov, the young guy. And I feel like their build going into the future is stronger for me than Chicago is. Chicago's got to do really well in this next draft and this offseason.
Don't forget about Timothy Liljegren.
That's your guy. It's his favorite guy.
Okay. It's crazy because when you look at when you compare both teams, Chicago should be doing better. They got a few pickups during the off season. Bertuzzi, and with Taylor Hall and Foligno and some of those other guys. I mean, they should be better than what they're doing right now. Unfortunately, it's just not working out right now, and I'm going to be. I figure it's like they're going to be sellers come deadline. You're going to see some of those guys go to some Stanley Cup contenders going into the playoffs. So, little
speaking of
reunion
that,
with Bertuzzi.
no. Speaking on that, Liljegren, do you like? We won't go into Leafs talk yet. I just want to ask this question because I don't think we ever talked about it. Do you feel like that trade was beneficial to the Leafs? And at the same time, did that catch you off guard? Because I know we had a lot of talk of them finding money to try and get him re-signed.
I don't think it really caught me off guard. It was expected. I didn't expect it that early, but they definitely needed to clear up some cap space. And when you're looking at the defense, for me, they would have gotten a lot more value or a lot more of a return from Timothy Liljegren in comparison to someone like Connor Timmins. But it was necessary. I don't think the style that Perugi is preaching fits what Liljegren is playing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm not upset by it. To dump his salary to pick up 2 second-round picks, you're not hurting yourself by that at all.
I agree.
That's completely fair. So just like the New York Rangers. So we'll talk on two things with the Rangers. Let's talk about Rempe first. That the hit that he threw the other night was just absolutely disgusting. And I don't necessarily feel like it was on Miro Heiskanen, by the way. And it could have went a lot worse than it ended up. I don't feel like he's necessarily a dirty player per se. I think it's the team is expecting him to do this, so he feels like he has to do that. I feel like there's pressure on him to fight all the time and to do dirty hits. I don't feel like he necessarily has been a guy just out there looking to kill people.
But would you say now that he's kind of gained a reputation of being a sort of dirty hitter? Because I'm going to be honest, I thought he was going to get like, I know he got 8 games, but I thought he was going to get like, more than like 10 games and maybe a little more than that. I wasn't, 8 games is still pretty, a significant suspension, but I thought he would get more than 10 games.
I think the reasoning for him getting the suspension at 8 games is because he doesn't have a long list of suspension history, right? Like had he had like a Kadri or a Marchand level of suspensions, I think it would have went a lot worse for him. Tom Wilson. My question is, does he like not even a question? What I'm wondering is will he correct course here and show that he's maybe not a goon, or is he going to continue to be like a Tom Wilson and just be a jerk for the rest of his career, or like a Sean Avery or something like that, and then prove that he really did mean to hurt all these people?
He's still pretty young, but I mean, him doing what he's doing right now has become a bit of a liability because the Rangers are in need of wins. and they need to be a little more disciplined. He needs to be a little more disciplined than that, because they need him. And I mean,
They're
I
playing
mean,
really bad.
they are playing really bad. I think they just traded someone not too long ago, and I think they are going to be trading a couple more people because I think a couple of teams have been asking about some of the players in the Rangers. Um, you know, not to go too off topic here, but apparently there was a players meeting and they don't really have a problem with their coach, Laviolette. Apparently they have more of a problem with their GM, and Jury. But you know, you know, it's an interesting concept. Rempe needs to just get it together and play instead of um, putting himself and players in volatile positions. He's a big guy, and because he's such a big guy, sometimes when he checks someone, to him it might not come off as like an elbow or something like that because he's checking at a normal position, but to other players because he's so tall, other players will get an elbow or something illegal happen to them, and he ends up getting suspended. So I don't know. Check him from behind, whatever it is. He just needs to play a little more disciplined, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say on that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I uh I'm curious to know what it would be like if a guy like Chara was still in the league to set a guy like him straight. Like you're gonna mess around because like we all know Chara straight up clobbered people. Um, and he was bigger than Rempe. The I mean Reeves did fight him, and Reeves really gave it to him.
Yeah.
But like the size difference obviously was there. The
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about. I know you don't want to talk about this, but let's talk about Pedersen and what's his face?
Miller.
Yeah, that guy.
Uh, it's really hard to talk about something when not a lot of information is out there. I mean, I think I think Hughes is the only person that sort of mentioned it in the media. Uh, you know, asking these guys to get it together and work it out. I don't know what it is that they're beefing about. It seems as though that JT Miller has a history of having beefs with some of his teammates. Um, and this goes back to like him and Luke Shen having a bit of an issue, and Shen questioning his JT Miller's effort. Excuse me. Um, and then next being JT Miller and Bo Horvat, which resulted in Bo Horvat, leaving Vancouver to go to the New York Islanders. Now, there, I don't know if there is an issue between Hughes and JT Miller, but now it's more Pedersen and JT Miller. It seems as though JT Miller is a bit of an issue.
It could be, but like Pedersen did release a statement today saying that people are just making things up and there is no problem between him and Miller. But we don't actually know, so it's hard to speculate on this, which I understand why you didn't really want to talk about it, but it is
Yeah,
in the news.
it's in the news. The media keeps asking them about it, and we are speculating. Sometimes things need to be kept in the locker room, but hopefully they can work it out because that's a pretty good team, man, and they had a pretty good run last year, and you know they need to get it together so that they can have another good run this year, and they have the capability of doing so.
Mm-hmm. Um, NHL wise, I don't really have anything else except that Braden Point has been killing it. Between Braden Point, McKinnon, and Rantanen, they're just like destroying the NHL right now. So shout out to them.
Tampa is on a heck of a level right now. They're playing well. Um,
They're
you
playing
know,
better without Stamkos. So I'm just gonna put that out
it's
there.
crazy, and speaking of Stamkos, that Predators team is in shambles. Like,
Yeah.
I am totally shocked with the Nashville Predators right now. It's crazy what's going on in there. They should not. This should not be happening to this team right now. They should be playing a lot better than what they're actually showing.
Well, actually, I have one NHL question. Calgary Flames. They're oddly doing perfectly fine. They're only a couple of points out of a locked playoff spot. They're in the wild card right now. Do you sell?
Not
I mean,
yet.
you kind of I know the idea of a rebuild is there, but when you're good enough to easily be making the playoffs right now, do you need to rebuild or do you need to retool? Do they sell or buy?
I'd buy because right now when I'm looking at the West, there's just too many bad teams over there that the Calgary Flames can actually make a go of it. Um, teams that we were expecting to do well are not doing well at all. I mean, they do have to compete with teams like Vegas and the LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers, Winnipeg Jets. But I mean, if Calgary can make it to the playoffs, I'd probably add a little bit and go younger.
And
And
Huberto showed up this year. I don't know where he was the last two seasons, but
Kadri is definitely playing well. So I think overall they got their best players on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't their best player on the LTIR right now? You know, like before he got injured, was it Mantha?
no, Manta's
Um,
not their best
not
player.
Mantha. Caught me off guard with this, but they do have a player on the
Oh,
LTIR.
I'll check. You just tell us your story.
Yeah. So, um, I mean, I wasn't really prepared for this question,
I know I shouldn't have
but
gave it to you, but I did.
their goalie's playing awesome, which I'm forgetting names right now. Shame on me.
It's Wolf. It's Wolf.
Wolf, there you go. Um, but Calgary should probably add a little bit, and they should go younger and build upon what they do this year, next year, because they have a pretty good team. Surprisingly enough, because last year they sold all their defense pretty much, but it's I would buy. I wouldn't sell. Yeah.
All right, I like your take there. Let's talk about the Leafs.
Did you look up who's on the
Oh yeah,
LTIR?
it was Manta. Manta. He's not their best player.
He was playing pretty damn good before he went on the LTIR, but
Yeah, he's an okay guy.
he's an okay guy.
Um, Matt Murray played his first game in like a year. Over a year? Yeah, over a year.
600 days or something like that. You got to admire that. It's awesome to. It's always great to see a comeback story. He isn't fully back in the NHL yet, but I thought he played okay. I don't think he played great. I thought he played okay.
Yeah.
Remember, they were what 4-1 going into the third or 5-1 going into the third, and they scored 4 goals, one of which was called back. But
I mean, yeah,
okay.
it's okay.
Okay.
But like you know what? I'll credit his performance, and I know they did play back to back, but against the Islanders, Wall looked awful. And I know I'm a Wall hater. I'm just gonna straight up and just admit it. Um,
Yep.
he's not playing that bad this season, but that game against the Islanders, he was awful.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't play that great, but that team in front of him didn't really give him a
Which
chance
is
either.
fair. And it was like
You
back
know,
to back for the
it
team.
was like 2-2-on-1s right in the first 5 minutes of the game, which is horrible. Like, how can you can't do that, man? And I know we spoke on him before, but Riley, like, he's got to get together. McCabe didn't have a good game either.
No.
He pinched when he shouldn't have. But a lot of screens, a lot of tip-ins. That's 2 of the goals were tip-ins. 2 of the goals were 2-on-1s. And typically, those Leaf players would move people out of the way, and they were not moving anybody out of the way, which didn't allow Wool to actually see those shots coming through. And but let's face facts, that was not a good game for him as well. It was not.
Yeah, and speaking of Riley, he's with his 347th pairing of the season.
Yeah.
How do you like him playing with Timmins?
um, it's just becoming a bit of a running joke now. Like they can't really find a partner for him. Going into the season, they thought they found the perfect partner in Tanev, but it just, it's just not working out. And I don't know what's going on with Hakanpää, but let's see what happens when he comes back. Maybe he might be the guy that can help Riley. But as of right now, I mean, it's crazy how you can think that his best defensive partner was Ron Hainsey.
I want to throw a thing out there, and let's see if it sticks. How about when Hakanpää comes back? Okay, or if he comes back, what you do is you take your 5 defensemen you have in the lineup, and you take out Morgan Riley for a game, put him in, see if they play better.
I mean, it all depends on their cap situation.
Well,
it's
at this point, Riley doesn't contribute anything to you defensively.
And I'm pretty sure that Craig Berube has instructed Morgan Riley to ease up on his rushes down in the offensive zone, because he really wants him to play defense. And because of that, it kind of seems as though he doesn't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Take your best defensive forward and switch Morgan Riley in that forward. Put Morgan Riley on the wing.
They're weak on the left side, might as well. But if Austin Matthews ends up going into the LTIR, which I hope doesn't happen, I'm willing to try your idea and put Morgan Riley, sit him out for one game, because now they'll have the cap space to do so. But I will say this, and I've said it already. I would say in the last maybe 8 games, maybe in the exception of one game, I don't think the Leafs have played a perfect game. There some of the games they have not started on time. Everybody's going nuts about, and me too. Everybody's going nuts about the McMahon, Robertson, and Domi line, which is great for depth because they need it. They need the depth scoring. However, they are atrocious in their, when you look at the last 3 games, they were a +3 versus Dallas, a 0 versus Buffalo, and a -3 last night against the Islanders. So it's like, as much as many numbers as they're putting up in the offensive zone, they're giving up as many goals. So these guys need to be a little more responsible in their own zone. I know I'm kind of going off right now, but they need to get it together. Those guys need to pick it up. Nylander is probably their best player right now. I'll stop now.
That's I don't even have anything else. Do you have anything else you want to talk about specifically?
Yeah, this thing about Matthews and everybody just crapping on him, like, oh, they play when he's not on the team. Yes, they do have a winning record when he's not playing, but they also have a winning record when he is playing. So shut up.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like
they also have a winning record when Nylander doesn't play, and when Tavares doesn't play, and when Marner doesn't play.
That's ridiculous. Like, come on, people. Like, get it together. When you're going into the playoffs, are you gonna sit Matthews? Like, it's like you want him in the lineup. It's like, I just laugh sometimes. I just laugh.
But, the only player on that team that needs to sit is Morgan Riley. As simple as that.
I mean, yeah, when I have to look at the whole team right now, I think, Morgan Riley probably needs to sit a couple of games and watch some video and really get it together. Maybe that'll be beneficial for him. But you know, it's crazy how one person on the. It's crazy how Timmins is playing better than Morgan Riley right now. Like,
And you don't
I
even
don't
like
know.
Connor Timmins.
No, when we initially started when the season initially started, I never had him in my
On your bingo card?
six. I never had him in my initial pairings. He was the odd man out, and ever since then, he's really played well. Uh, on a lot of nights. Some nights not so much, but overall, I'm sorry. Maybe this is a hot take, but I think he's better than Morgan Riley right now. Sorry, I think he's playing a lot better than him. But hopefully that can change because I haven't really seen enough of that $7.5 million a year player that Morgan Riley should be.
It's just at
He's
some point, I just want accountability. It's not one mistake or two mistakes. It's not this season he's been bad or 2 seasons. He's been this guy for like 5, 6 years now, but yet we still have him on the top pairing. Just make him the second pairing, make him the third pairing. You don't even have to take him out of the lineup. Try something different, except always having Morgan Riley on the top pairing.
Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say that Tanev and OEL or Tanev and McCabe are the top pairing on this team, but um, it's crazy how they're still trying to find a partner for Morgan Riley. That's the craziest thing.
At some point, you're the problem.
Me,
Yeah, definitely you. Um,
come on.
yeah, I don't know. Make a trade. Anything
Well,
else?
I never really
No,
got your
go ahead.
opinion on the Matt Murray thing. Like,
I think
what did you think of it overall?
I'm very happy with him as being our third goalie. If that's what it comes down to, he's better than Hillerby.
Yeah,
Hilleby,
Hilderby, Hilderby,
Wilderbeest. Um, yeah,
but
I don't know.
Hilderby's still young.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But if I'm going to go into
It's
the playoffs, you tell me I wouldn't rather have a Stanley Cup champion as my third string goalie? I think I
yeah,
would.
yeah. But I really overall, I really haven't had too many complaints about the goalies.
No,
And
Stolarz is amazing.
yeah, um, the defense overall, I think have played well enough, better than last year. But it's the forwards. The forwards got to play better.
I've
Um,
had just to cut you off. I've had
no,
two completely different crackheads come up to me on the subway to tell me how good of a goalie Stolarz is and then how great of a season he's having this year. Because I have a Leaf hat on, that's why they do it. But
mhm.
I'm not even joking. That's the literal truth.
It
And
is.
one guy knew every single stat. And I was like, okay. I mean, I guess he actually is a really good goalie if these guys know about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what a steal. I'm sorry. It's like one of the better signings in the offseason for the Leafs. Um, Probably just a little bit better than Tanev, which,
Yeah,
hey,
it's definitely better than Eric Lindros.
yeah. But, and Tanev's playing great. But, whatever. I mean, it's the Toronto media and the narratives that they create. It's crazy. The articles that come out, it's I just saw on, I can't remember who put it out there, but there's 3 articles in a row. And the first article said how great the Leafs are playing under Craig Berube. And then the next article was like a little more neutral. And then the article, what is Berube thinking playing Camp on the first line? But it's like, jeez, like there's no consistency. It's always like
The
something.
Leafs are first place in the division. What are you crying about?
It's like relax, like chill, like who. Anyway, I thought it was funny.
Listen, they've been a better team in a third of a season with Berube behind the bench than they ever were with Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah, I mean, two different coaching styles.
Mhm.
Jersey's doing great too, but two different coaching styles, and sometimes certain coaching styles work better with certain teams.
And in
And
fairness to him, okay, and this isn't a knock to Sheldon Keefe. New Jersey was already a really good team.
yeah,
And this season, they only got better on paper. Last year was like an anomaly of everyone being like, what the hell happened to this team that was just top in the league?
yeah,
Right. And then this year, even they had that weird little patch where we were like, oh no, they're going to just die off.
mhm,
But yeah, I mean, they have better goalie, they have better everything this season. So I don't know how
100%.
much credit I'm giving to Sheldon Keefe for that. Like, are we going to give Sheldon Keefe credit for having Mitch Marner, Nylander, and Austin Matthews in one team? Like, I don't know.
Well,
We'll see.
I mean, Brubery as of late he's trying different things. I
Yeah, and I
think,
like it. I appreciate it.
yeah, like he he put Matthews, Marner, and Nylander on the same line, um, and I hope he can coach them into getting better because that first game that he put them together, they didn't look good at all. They started playing a little bit better, as the game went along, and hopefully when Matthews comes back, they can build on that. But he's able to Craig Ruby is able to find a second line that works and a third line that works. Hopefully they can play better on the defensive side. But if he can coach Matthews, Marner, and Nylander to play better on both sides of the ice, you're looking at a pretty damn good team, even better team than where so let's see what happens when hopefully Matthews can get better again or heal up and come back at 100%. And another take, I would not, if Matthews is not 100% and his injury is still lingering, I would not make him play the Four Nations Cup. I wouldn't.
Neither
I
would
don't
I.
think, yeah, I don't think that's right. I don't think he should be doing that. I think he needs to worry about getting 100%. And if that means resting and not playing the Four Nations Club, then that's something that he needs to do. My opinion.
I'll
But
take it. I
ultimately,
like
it's
your
up to him.
I like your opinion. It's cute.
Thank you, sir.
That's it. We're ending this episode. Thanks for watching. Let us know what percent you guys would like Austin Matthews to be before you let him play in the Four Nations Cup. And check us out on the next one.